Okay, for the last video, I'll just do this break the calculators under a category called pwn. So after I did all the web ones, I was just kind of curious. This was a JavaScript one, so I decided to maybe attempt it. I think pwn basically means like trying to elevate your privilege or break out of the service. And so, yeah, what this was is they gave you a URL. Basically, no, they gave you like a terminal that you could connect to, and then you inputted a command, and essentially the goal is to break into it and read a file on the system, essentially leveraging the software that they gave you. So I'm probably doing a bad job explaining it, but I'll just get into it. So what this was, they gave you a URL and a zip file. So if I go, this was the link they gave us, nc.pwn.glacier.cf on this point. NC is netcat. Because I'm in a Docker container, I'm going to use SOCAT. It's just it just works a little bit cleaner. But on a Mac or directly in a virtual machine, this would have been fine. So if I use SOCAT -tcp pnw glacier ctf, if I can type ctf.com, and we want port 13375. It takes a while because I'm in Docker and I'm on Mac, and so network connections seem to be a little bit delayed. This should eventually spit out an input saying, "Welcome to my calculator, please type a formula." So if I do 1 + 1, give me 2. While that's running, I'll close this. And I'll just get that ready. Oh, this is taking a lot longer, maybe because I'm filming. So essentially, this software is what, let's just try console.log test. Don't hack me, goodbye. So this little bit of this endpoint is what we're trying to hack. They did give us source code, which is nice. So if I'm on here, I can actually take a look at the Docker file that's running that service. And so it's copied the whatever chal to the app folder. There's there's a flag.txt and an app.js. So generally these challenges are the form that you gotta read the contents of this text file. And then it's also running SOCAT on and executing this node app.js. So that we'll want to check that out. Let's just cd into the challenge. And there's only 2 files. So if I look at the flag, so it's something like this. Instead of dummy flag, I want the real value. And if I look at app, it's pretty simple app. So it's just requiring read line, create an interface, formula calculator. Let's go down to okay. So here, welcome to my calculator. Please type in a formula. So online call calculate line on that formula. So this is probably a string. Parse formula is going to equal. So this is going to take all the white space and replace it with the empty character. And then we want to match it that are there no A to Z or basically alpha Latin characters or white space in the line. So if there are none, run it, which we're going to call the JavaScript function class. Pass it a string. Parse formula is also a string. So basically it's going to return whatever you put in that string. So this is kind of like a one-liner. And I think I played around with this before. So this function class, basically it's like eval in JavaScript, but it just generates a function on whatever string you pass to it. And then here, that function is getting executed. So that's how the calculation is happening. So essentially, it's a calculator that they're trying to make sure that no letters are passed. You can't run any JavaScript command. You can only pass numbers and operators. Then it will print the result here, which it did. We could see result 2, and it says goodbye, and then otherwise it says don't hack me. So it's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated for a video. because I wanted to play around with it and pass it a whole bunch of different things. But essentially, my original approach was maybe I can outsmart this regex. And so I tried a whole bunch of different things to try to basically create a line break because this is at the beginning of the line to the end of the line. And so I was really trying to create a line break in whatever I pass here. I think this works. Probably pass it inline function. I don't know. No, it just turns it to a string. But essentially, I just was trying to find, is there a white space character that would add a new line? But when I looked up what this, actually, why don't we do that together? Workzone, I guess it means tool in Python. JavaScript, Regex, classifier, regular expressions, special characters, character classes, that's what I want. Here, matches a single white space character, including space, tab, form feed, line feed, and other Unicode spaces. So I went down a rabbit hole trying to figure out, is there a Unicode character that this doesn't cover, which, I mean, hopefully there shouldn't be, because this is regex. That would be pretty serious if it didn't. So that was not the right approach, was to try to break this regex. So then I kind of felt helpless because I wasn't quite sure what to do. So on a whim, I just decided to Google CTF, which is like capture the flag, calculator, JavaScript, I think function. And one of these came up. It basically introduced me to a concept, which before I say it, actually, it unfortunately has a really bad name. So the rest of this will be, I guess, for mature audiences, unfortunately, because of what it's named. So you've been warned. So you can also just turn off the video right now, just as a heads up. What is it here? Let's try broken. JavaScript broken. I'm going to blame DuckDuckGo. CTF, JavaScript, calculator, bypass. Let's try that. So this is essentially part of capture the flag, just basically trying to figure out random things and just Googling and seeing if something doesn't come up. Now, I would have probably read all this in more in depth, but I know what I'm looking for. So that's why I'm kind of zooming through it. But essentially, it did take a long time to find, and just as I'm having a hard time finding it, JS maybe, or Node. I think it was Node. No, we already saw this one. This is the way Google goes sometimes. If you do it long enough, eventually you'll get what you want. But I don't think anybody wants to watch me try to figure it out again. CTF. Maybe I'll try some other calculator, node, CTF, function. All right, it seems to be wanting to give me these. So ultimately, I came across the term JSFUCK. So basically, you can write any JavaScript with 6 characters, which I had no idea you could do this. So essentially, it's an esoteric educational programming style based on the atomic parts of JavaScript. It only uses 6 different characters to write and execute code. So this blew my mind. And let's see. Oh, I want you in. So let's see if we can't make this work in the frame here. So I just copy this, and I'm going to put it in the frame. Look at that, alert 1. So I don't know how this works. It's some kind of JS magic, but essentially this put me on the trail. Like, okay, now there's probably something I can do here. So let's just encode test. I mean, this is a lot though, 22,000 characters. We can go into here, let that load while we contemplate this new JavaScript language we just learned. So that made me think that, okay, so that's going to bypass this regex, and there's probably some way to, let's see if I paste this, we'll take it. Didn't work. So I'm gonna, why did it not work? I played around with it, but I'm pretty certain it has something to do with the standard out. So I'm gonna, instead of using standard out, just input it from a file. Input dot, let's just see what's here. Nothing, okay. Then input.txt, set paste. We'll paste that in here. And I'll see if this works. So we'll pass it the input from the file, so you don't got to worry about standard input or anything, screwing it up. So I'm hoping this returns test. That would be the ideal case, and it didn't. So it didn't. Maybe because test is not a variable if it's executing it. So let's do process.argv. Process. I think argv works too. Let's just v. Argv property. It's rated higher than the actual documentation. This returns an array containing the arguments passed to the process one run in the command line. So this would be a good test. And it just doubled the characters. Probably a better way to do this, but this is how I'm going to do it. So we'll recreate this file. Now this should run what we want, what we're hoping. So it'll either output process or it will output something interesting. And it outputted something interesting. So we're running node, comma, app.js. Cool. And I know the file is at flag.txt. So I need to read something at -app.flag.txt. This led me into a rabbit hole for, okay, how do you read from node without like FS being required? The fact that this is just one line, I couldn't figure out how to like set variables and stuff. So I basically had to try to find a way to do it all in one line. And so that was on Google, basically Readfile. Oh, it's got something here in my Readfile using binding. I think this is one of my search results. How to read file without require.fs. Perfect. So this took me a while to get to. This time Google gave me what I wanted. So, but this was the answer that I came across eventually after like 20 different answers. So how can you read a file without require fs? And obviously they're doing something similar to what I'm doing here a couple of 4 years ago. So without require, you can use module constructor.load or process main module constructor.load. So I did this the first time and it basically gave me an empty string. So then the second time I did this, and let's just see how it works. So process.load, and we're going to sync read file synchronously because I just want to do it all in one line. And I know the location is flag.txt.app. I'm going to encode it. Now we got 10,000 lines. Nice. Actually, I just want to remove this. Look at that wall of whatever that is, and we'll pass it into there and see what the results are. So this was kind of an interesting one for me because I had no idea you could do this with JavaScript. But I think it only works if if you're evaluating it. Oh, it didn't work. Why? Process.main manual constructor.load.readfile sync app.text. Can we decode it? Process.main module be undefined if there's no script entry. So maybe this worked. Maybe it was this. Maybe this worked. Let's see. You know what? Why don't we just run it locally, and that way we can see node app.js. Node app.js input.txt. Where am I? I'm in a Glacier web server. Move input.txt to break the challenge. And we want to go there too. So there, okay, input is there. Let's see if we get an error. Readfile is not a function. Readfile sync is not a function. So I'm missing something. Oh, I gotta load FS. Whoops. So I have to specify the module I want to load. That makes a lot of sense. So let's go remove input.text. Let's just run this locally. See if we. There's no such. Okay, it worked. There's no such. But on this machine, there's no such flag. So hopefully on the hosted one, we get a flag back. That was also the other benefit of getting it to run locally is I could play around with it. Here I'm able to throw an error, whereas in this one I'm not. And look at that result. The Glacier JavaScript is great esoteric language. I got it. So that that concludes Glacier CTF. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's also interesting to do just to like learn new things. And so there's some of the other challenges. Like if I go back to I can't show them to you. But there's some other interesting challenges around like images and like putting like data inside different types of images and stuff. And just I don't know. I just learned a lot about different ways of kind of getting around certain systems. And so I find it kind of interesting and fun to kind of learn these new things. And so hopefully that's inspired someone else to take on CTF the next time around. So yeah, looking forward to doing some more of these, and hopefully this was fun. Thanks, everyone.